I started playing Hybrid Heaven for my stream about 2 months ago. I had known about it for years, read about it in Nintendo Power actually, and I always meant to try it, but I kept putting it off until it was suggested to me. I'm sure lots of people have said this before, but Hybrid Heaven has a lot of rough edges. As an RPG, it's very drab. A good chunk of the game, I'm not done yet, shut up, I can talk about this part if I want, is on an alien ship, so there's not a lot of variety in the settings, and the level design is redundant to a fault, to the point that you'll enter rooms that repeat sections 4 times just to go down to a lower floor of the ship that has a ridiculously similar setup. I actually like the plot though. They are leaning into the body snatcher stuff as hard as possible, and I really want to see how far they go with it, since it's had some interesting payoffs so far, so I call that a plus. But it's not exactly a must-see story. And as an action game, it's a little unsatisfying. There's not a lot of challenging platforming, thankfully, because the movement is a little stiff, and the puzzles so far have amounted to checking every room and backtracking afterwards. But the game's idea of setting up obstacles is propping up annoying traps and hiding enemy encounters behind bad camera angles. The game's camera is no help either. I eventually just used my gun as a pseudo first-person view. But where those elements intersect is in the battle system, which is my favorite part of the game, and the one thing about Hybrid Heaven that seems to leave a lasting impression. Beating body snatchers, aliens, and robots in one-on-one fistfights is always fun, and the cross between free-running movement and turn-based commands, coupled with a power meter that can enhance your moves and even let you make custom combos, is actually really satisfying to use. It's all tempered by a stamina system, but honestly, I hardly ever noticed it until I got to a point where I could start stringing attacks back to back to back. You start off strong enough to knock biological weapons flat on their backs and tank shots from laser guns, and you just keep getting stronger from there. And the little touches on the movement in the fights, the way your arm pulls back after a hook or straight punch, the great form on the wrestling throws and submission holds, the stance your character starts to adopt over time as you favor certain moves, it's all fantastic. The wrestling moves, in particular, are really fun to use. I obviously have a bias because I like that sort of thing, but I think even without that, they're really worth noting. From what I could look up, a few people on the staff, including one of the members of the battle team, had worked on a wrestling game named which was a solid wrestling game for the SNES released in 1996. I'm going to make a big assumption here and say that the experience from that title probably bled into Hybrid Heaven's grappling, and the game's better for it. There are some enemies you can't throw though. Lots of enemies in this game have pros and cons to them, and there's plenty of times where they're really good at dealing with a specific type of attack, either because they're invulnerable to an attack, or because they're way better at it than you are, and trying to lock up, outpunch, outkick, or outgun them is a losing proposition. Combine that with the pros and cons of either biding your time so you can attack with a flurry of blows, or doing consistent damage, spacing out your approaches and retreats, and even some limited environmental damage, and there's a lot to think about during each fight, which is why I'm thankful that they're mostly just one-on-one fights, at least so far. Up until this point, Hybrid Heaven's been a great time. I'm pleasantly surprised by what it gets right, and its flaws aren't too frustrating to deal with. I really hope the second half of this game holds up as well. In the meantime, I recommend finding a way to try the game for yourself, if only for a little bit. Don't commit too hard, just, take a peek.